The Buffalo Sabres were on the ice for practice earlier today as they get set to head out for a 6-game road trip on the heels of their 5-1 win last night over the Winnipeg Jets. Notes from today's skate: Jordan Greenway, the only absence in today's practice. Colton Ellis had his own net, an indication that he will start tomorrow night. The road trip begins tomorrow against the Philadelphia Flyers. Puck drop tomorrow at 7:30. You can hear it here on WGR. To football, it's an off day for the Buffalo Bills as they get back to work tomorrow preparing for the Cincinnati Bengals. The team will give updates on the injury report tomorrow. Around the NFL, the Denver Broncos added wide receiver Elijah Moore to their practice squad. Moore was released by the Bills last week. Los Angeles Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert is day-to-day officially by the team after getting surgery on his non-throwing hand. His left hand was fractured against the Las Vegas Raiders. This holiday season, we're kicking off Mission Give Where You Live to benefit Buffalo City Mission, powered by NYSEG. Starting December 1st through December 19th, you can donate brand new sweatshirts, sweatpants, hats, gloves, scarves, and non-perishable food items to help keep our community warm and fed. Just stop at any Dash's Market location, drop off your donation to the Mission Give Where You Live donation bin. If you're shopping online, you could still help and give through the Buffalo City Mission's Amazon wish list. It's sponsored by the Barnes Firm and Dash's Market. Get all the details at kiss985.com. This update is brought to you by Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Derek Kramer for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Okay. Football Tuesday. Why do we have that? Why do we have Football Tuesday?
We can. Let's just do it.
Just casually?
Yeah. Yeah, low.
Is it Hockey Tuesday?
It's a low key Football Tuesday.
Really?
Yeah. Lo-fi.
No reads?
Right. Read free.
No sponsor?
No. It'll never last.
We'll have Ross today at 4. I don't want to necessarily get into this now, but I'm really curious what Ross's Mike Tomlin take is for later. I did ADP chasing this morning, and my guys get a little, I mean, they're I don't want to say this in a negative way, but when you hear somebody say like they're looking for clicks, my guys kind of talk like they're always looking for clicks, just to the extremes. And my Chiefs buddy, Davis Maddock, is like, oh, Andy Reid needs to be fired. Andy Reid needs to be fired. Like, okay, well, could we have a season here where the top 3 or 4 longest tenured coaches end up moving? That would be Tomlin, Reid, on his own team. I mean, Reid's older, I'm not counting the Eagles years.
Right.
Tomlin, Reid, John Harbaugh, and McDermott.
McDermott's right after that, right?
He's 4th.
Yeah.
Can you see this kind of upheaval happening in the coaching ranks this year?
No.
None of it.
I don't know about none of it. The Tomlin thing, it really just comes down to how much of an appetite he has to recognize that maybe they're never going to make a move on him, and it might be best for all parties if he just sort of, if you'd like it, I will leave. I feel like that's where we are with him. I don't think Andy Reid is going anywhere.
He's older enough where maybe he would retire at some point.
I suppose, but I don't.
Tomlin's younger than us.
God. Really?
53. Yeah, he's 53.
Wow.
How about that guy yesterday? He's like, I thought you guys would be younger. That felt so good to have somebody say that to us at the at the grocery store. Like,
right.
I pictured you guys being younger.
Yeah.
Oh, but I think that's a compliment. Reid is 67. Not quite Pete Carroll, but
no. And there was sort of this might have been just wishful thinking on like my part. Not so much last year when they lost the Super Bowl, but when they won it the year before. Like, oh, maybe it's time for him to ride off into the sunset.
Like Kelsey.
Right. But I don't think they move on him if they miss. He could get tired of it, I suppose. Like I've done all my winning. I'm fine to leave. Be leaving on a pretty sour note if this this great dynasty here of the 2020s were to end on a year where they missed the playoffs and he walks out the door. But it could happen. Life keeps going. So I don't know. Like those two are they're so entrenched. I don't think either of them gets fired.
No, I think that's right. I think fired happens if you have a really ugly interpersonal situation between ownership, not even the GM. The GM's almost irrelevant.
Yeah. With
coaches like this. The owner and the coach just are not seeing things the same way anymore. This has happened with Parcells. It happened famously with Jimmy Johnson. Lots of examples where it just grows old and you don't want to work for this guy anymore. And you have enough status as a coach where you can work somewhere else if that's what you want to do, or basically do anything you want. It's enough money.
Yeah.
It's enough of a career. You can go to TV. Whatever you want to do, you can do.
Is Harbaugh at that level?
I don't know.
I can't. I don't want to definitively say one way or the other, which I think might be an indication that he's not. Right? At least I'm telling you, I'm open to him not being at the Tomlin Reed level.
Can you guess his age?
I'm going to guess that he is. What did you say Tomlin is?
53.
John Harbaugh is 56.
I was hoping you would guess like that. 63.
Okay.
He's closer to Reed than Tomlin. He's closer to Reed than he is to Tomlin in age. 18 years with the Ravens, almost all good. Got a ring. This could be a game Sunday, Pittsburgh at Baltimore, where whoever loses they've just had it.
Yeah.
With everything. I mean, Baltimore has the quarterback, although he looks bad lately too. Then you have McDermott, and I don't know. It's never usually us that brings it up. It's always callers who bring it up. But what would have to happen for there to be a change here? Could that happen? Could it happen if they get to the playoffs, which they probably will, and they go out on the road as much time as people spend and we've spent on how right now the teams that would be at home in the first round are maybe not that impressive. They're still at home, and they're pretty good at least. And you might not be better than that. So if the Bills were to lose in the wild card, would that be the thing that tips it? I don't have to dwell on this.
It could. It could. I mean, I don't even know what that is to say because anything could happen. But that would clearly be a sign of going the wrong way. Year over year, if it ends up there. And I don't know. Like is Pagula? I think you have to sort of paint by numbers a little bit with him to an extent because there's not really any. You don't really get any. He's itchy. Or he's banging on McDermott's door like to get to a Super Bowl. There's never any of that with the Bills in general, and so I don't know if Pagula is pacing around. It's possible, really, and I'm not saying this just for effect, that he is like a fan who's impatient and calls us and says like, when are we gonna do something?
Well,
it's possible.
What are the Sabres as an example to this? Are they an example of that he is that way or that he isn't? On one hand, there have been lots of changes. On the other, have there been enough? Are the Sabres a team that strikes you as like they act quickly? I mean, they've been so bad.
No. That's an example of, I think the impression we're under is that he doesn't care at all about it.
I don't think that, I want to say. I don't think that he doesn't care. I just think that, he might not be that invested. Is that the same thing? Like, financially.
That's kind of what I mean when I say
financially.
He doesn't care. I mean, I'm sure he cares about the state of the franchise to an extent, but does he care enough to do something about it? to eat money on coaching contracts or GM contracts or whatever.
I think maybe he used to.
Yeah, I don't think anymore. And I don't know. Like, this is an easy thing to say. It's circumstantial entirely, but the fact that the Bills have been as stable and very good to great under McDermott and Bean, and the Sabres are spinning while he's changed people out, could for him. This is not I don't trust him to hire a new football coach or new football GM. It's he might not have the appetite for change because stable has equated to success and unstable, despite Kevin Adams' sixth year on the job. It has been, that's been there was a lot of change before he got here, and that began the cycle of spiraling here and non-playoff seasons, or it continued it. It started before all of that. It started with Darcy and Lindy, the not making the playoffs. It goes back that long. Holy cow! So I don't know what his appetite for change would be, based on that. I sort of feel more like, and I've been, maybe you might sense this from me. I feel like the way McDermott has talked at different points throughout this season has led me to feel as though, and it's not to say this has to be the right decision if a decision gets made, if something changes based on a wild card round loss or even not that. Maybe they just don't get to the Super Bowl and there is real roll up the sleeves, what are we going to do about it? And I could see a scenario where McDermott finds his way to taking Bean out back. I just feel like McDermott has subtly, I think, just expressed some dissatisfaction with the roster in different ways. He has said certain things. He has also pointed out how excited he is about McCole Hardman, as an example. And that doesn't have to be anything but honest from him, but it also could be, I've been waiting for someone that could do this, and I'm so happy to have a guy who hasn't played a snap all year on my team now. I feel like that could be perceived as a subtle, we're not in lockstep like we used to be anymore. I'm not getting what I think I need or want from that end of the building. And so I also think that all the hubbub that Bean created himself probably doesn't serve him well with McDermott. I just think the spectacle of that hanging over all of this is a bad look. And I think McDermott's a pretty buttoned-up guy. And I think Pegula really appreciates that about him, that he's not going to take stuff like that out for a ride. And
well, you mean he lost his cool, basically.
Yeah.
Bean.
Yeah.
And maybe he said too much, and not in the most professional way.
Right.
Yep.
So that to me, that's kind of where my head is at. But I don't know. I mean, really, it really just, it's hard to know where the owner, where his head. They've got a new stadium opening.
Right.
They've been the picture of stability and to a degree excellence. I mean, they're not winning trophies, but they've been year over year one of the very best teams in the league, and Pegula might just want to keep everything going, moving into the new place.
Would make sense.
So, I think that's a fact that could be a factor too in anything happening, almost despite the results, because they could very easily just say, despite what I just said about Bean and McDermott and sensing that there's maybe a split coming or happening, they all ownership could just go, despite whatever McDermott might think, as I'm sort of guessing at here, ownership would just go, we've been great. We had one bad year. We're moving into a new stadium. Just shut up. Let's keep going. Who are we drafting in April?
How bad a year is it even?
Not that bad.
They have had more, at least I think this is right. I mean, it's certainly what we talk about more often. It just seems injuries keep coming and have been problematic for the Bills, maybe more than ever. Now you even have offensive linemen hurt. That's never happened to them. So you've got that aspect of this season, the biggest difference is New England. They have won the division 5 years in a row, the Bills, without too much competition. New England at the beginning a little bit, Miami in the middle. I mean, that was to the last game of the season at least, but mostly it's been the Jets have never been any kind of threat. It's mostly been pretty easy. This year, I mean, what would the Bills, I don't know this answer, but what would probably be their over-under for wins? 11.5? Cincinnati, at the Patriots, the Browns, Philadelphia, Jets, last 2 at home. So 3 home games. They're 8-4, 11.5. So 11 or 12 wins. That's right with their last 5 years.
Right.
The difference is there's a team in front of them. And that is not changing.
No.
Like last night, it's the Giants, but I mean, that's a really impressive. That's what a really good team does. They just get away from you, and it's an easy night.
There's no falling flat. There's just
no stress.
We're just putting this game out of its misery. You don't have to watch the second half.
Right.
Right. There's no need. This thing is over. That's exactly what happened last night. And that's not really like they can't control how good New England is. They can control how well they match up with New England. They can control losing to New England, to an extent. But they can't decide how quickly Mike Vrabel is going to turn a 4-13 win team 2 years in a row. By the way, the last 2 years they were 4-13, and here they are sitting there at 11-2 in year 2 with this quarterback. I was not. I don't know who was, so I don't even know what it is to say. I was not expecting them to be that good, even with the soft schedule. I just figured eventually, even yesterday, having seen them already go 10-2, like, well, this team has a pass rush. I didn't know at the time that one of them was going to be benched to start the game, Abdul Carter. But maybe this is a game. This is it. Everybody stubs their toe. Maybe this is the night where he stubs his toe. Nope.
That's a fun story. Abdul Carter.
Yeah. Interim coach.
Relatable. Okay, well, New England is the story. Whether you thought it was coming or not. Thought they'd be good, but 11-2 good.
I thought we had at least until next year to have them at this level where they'd be, I thought the games against them would be tense and they would matter, but that the Bills would still be the better team. And I don't know that I expected them to coast like they did last year. I mean, again, New England was 4-13 last year. If you thought they'd be like a 10 or 11 win team, then it probably would have still been competitive now. But they're already an 11 win team, and they still have 4 games left.
There's nothing to do about it, right? Like, it's not over. So New England at 11-2. Now they have a bye week. Then they play the Bills. Even if the Bills win this week and next week, they're still a game out, and they don't have the tiebreaker. They need the Patriots to lose to either the Jets or Miami in the last 2 games. There's also a game in Baltimore that won't be easy, but it's the division games that will decide it if the Bills and Patriots end up tied, because the Bills have the loss to Miami, and New England does not have they don't have any division loss. The Bills would be their only one in this case. So tiebreakers are leaning there, and, it's not over. I don't think it's not quite like last year. I mean, we talk all the time about the benefit of the bye week and the rest and everything, and even like last year, the Bills didn't get the bye, but they basically took week 18 off, which, by the way, was New England getting to 4-13 by beating them. I mean, it was probably a game they were better off losing. Anyway, you had to keep going until week 18 when you didn't have to, because it didn't really matter anymore. You had to keep going. And there's nothing about this situation that is different than that, I think. I mean, there's still the head-to-head game next week. Mm-hmm. You're not in the playoffs either. So last year was more the time for any conversation about how to play the last month.
Right.
Really, this year, like 2 years ago, you have to push. And, that's not how you want it, but you got to get in.
Yeah.
First of all, you got to get in.
Right.
And then maybe you luck out and get the division, if not a bye week also. That's going to be tough. at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Obviously, you have to win that game there in 2 weeks. On the heels of winning this game, I think. If you even, I think this is right. The Bills can get to 9-4, they beat the Bengals. So that would be just complete. Everybody's played the same amount of games now, and I'm 2 back. And there are 4 games left. All right. And the first one is against the team I'm chasing. I don't get that one. It's over.
The division is clinched.
I can't catch you. I can tie you, but I can't pass you because even if you tank your final 3 games, you've got 2 head-to-heads on me, and I'm done. So winning this week keeps it alive. And then you need to win in Foxborough in order to even go to the final 3 weeks with a chance for the division. The chances are, because of the wild card traffic, the Bills will have to keep going even after that. If that were to happen, right? They come out of that game 9-5 in New England. They lose that game. They're probably still in pretty decent shape for a wild card spot, but they're going to have to keep banging at that. They're not just be able to coast in. Maybe all the way to the end if they drop that game. So that's the one scenario where this could end, in less than 2 weeks.
Right. And you have to keep playing for the wild card, but that's all there would be left.
Right.
If it's 12-2 versus 9-5 by the end of next week. Well, new territory here. 803-0550. The Patriots. So next week, as we're saying, and you probably already knew it, the Bills are in Foxborough. Know the line? FanDuel has a spread.
I have not looked yet, no.
If you guess it and you're even like a little bit off, you might want to play it. That's how I roll. If I'm off, not usually, but in theory, I would roll like this, where if I guess it a few points off, then this is what I think I guess.
Yeah. Boy, after last night, didn't I yesterday say a few times I thought the Bills would be favored there?
I don't know if you did.
Maybe in a playoff game, I was thinking. I don't know. Either way,
Sam said it. Eric said it.
Okay,
I know they both thought that.
Then I think I was in line with them. I think that was a mistake. I'm going to guess that New England right now, that game, they are a 2-point favorite.
1.5. Very good. It's one of the best years for the Bills-Patriots rivalry. All those Brady years were not rivalry.
No.
That was not a rivalry situation.
No, that was a bludgeoning.
You have like the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, it was kind of okay. How many years do we have where both teams were good? 1963. How many years do we have where both teams were like contenders? 80, maybe? 80, 81? Then 98, 99, the Jets rise up there. The Dolphins are good. The Colts, there's a lot going on in the division then, but like mid-Bledsoe, because the Super Bowl years, Bledsoe's 93, and they're not anywhere yet.
Right.
By 94 they were, and the Bills were down. So mid-90s, and then, they met in the playoffs. 21. But New England was not on the Bills' level.
No.
As that game showed. So
yeah.
It hasn't been that many times.
No, that's right.
This is the Bills' fault. It's the same thing with the Jets. Like there haven't been many moments where they're both good. It's also the Jets' fault.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is. It's funny. Armando tweeted during the game last night. And I commented on it. I'm not going to pull it up. I don't remember exactly what he said, but something about Drake May. Like watching him, what does it make you think right now? Or watching New England right now with Drake May, I'm like that. I wasn't emotionally prepared for them to be this good so soon. And somebody commented on that to me. What do you mean so soon? Like you kind of had a walk for 5 years here. Which is right. Like that. What that is that's the drought. That's the longevity of them lording over us for 20 years and us only getting 5 years out of it. One of which we played them in the playoffs, right? It's not like they were completely on the side of the road broken down when the Bills got good. They weren't on their level, but they were still there, right? We weren't clear of them completely. And so And here we are again, 4-13 the last 2 years. Draft your quarterback, and it's showtime for them.
Feel free to tell us how we're looking past the Bengals. 803-0550 is the number. The Bills and the Patriots, and I guess I still want to call it a race in the AFC East, but the most significant, unexpected, or mostly anyway, unexpected aspect of this year is the Bills are kind of having a Bill season, and it's not enough. They're down, not even just not ahead, but down in the division race. We'll look for your calls next at 803-0550. Ross Tucker today at 4. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Football Tuesday, some are saying. This is WGR. I like it this way, too. Marcus Spears, ESPN, I think?
Yep.
I like it this way, too. I would never tell you there's no chance Team A will beat Team B, like he's saying he would have. Mm-hmm. So I got him on that. There's never that. How do you not know that? There's never that.
Right.
A team has no chance. I mean, sometimes it seems like it's pretty close, but there's never no chance.
Right. Last night got pretty close.
I didn't think so going in.
Right. I thought I liked the Giants and the points. There's, heart versus mind, whatever, there too, which obviously would have been really nice if the Giants could have shown up and done us all a solid. But no, it didn't happen, and they pretty much got blown off the field.
The punt return was big toward that. I mean, it's 3-0.
Yeah.
They also get it to 17-7, and what? Turn it over pretty quick, and Patriots go in a couple more times even before halftime. Game's over by halftime.
Yeah, it's 37 at 30 to 7. 32-7 at halftime. Yeah.
The thing about the rivalry, we're talking about New England and how the Bills might measure up. 803-0550 for your calls. Ross Tucker will join us at 4, and we'll talk about this with Ross. So the Patriots, it doesn't seem temporary with May. Like he's young. So they look like a team that should be good for a while because of him. Mm-hmm. He doesn't show the incredible, mind-blowing kind of side that Allen has, but he is just right on point all the time. I think he has a pretty good pocket. He does take sacks, though, and he's talked about that. Like Burrow did this a couple of years ago. We're like, just sometimes we'll get through it. He doesn't seem somebody that maybe Jackson Dart is that gets into a kind of a panic mode.
Right.
But, May seems like he's got all the pieces.
Yeah, for 2 years in the league, there's not any frenetic is a word that's coming to mind. Watching Dart, thinking about Allen the first couple of years of his career, and it wasn't until really year 3 that because the playoff game in Houston is maybe the quintessential sugar high Josh Allen or whatever we were calling it at the time, and then that just really leveled off once 20 started. May, I don't remember I know they only won 4 games last year, but I don't remember him. Maybe there was some of that, but it went away pretty quick. Like he's not as Josh Allen light. I mean, he's not as spectacular. He's not as physically imposing nor gifted as Allen, but he's close enough. And what he is so far, at least this year, is really poised for a guy that's he's 23 years old, and he just is he's just on it. They're buttoned up. He's buttoned up is how I look at them right now.
So it's him, and that's the number one thing. But you've also got a coach that it's obvious. It confirms your priors, right? But it's obvious by how the Patriots play. I also got a close-up look at this when the Patriots played here, and I was in the third row for that game. Like, he is just kind of – he's got a presence, Vrabel, and he's also got big credibility. Player, ex-player, the years with Tennessee, coach of the year. He's got all the boxes checked when it comes to like who you'd want to go get in a coach. And he also has, a New England past. So he kind of is he's very believable, I would think, for those players as somebody you can buy into. So they've got that. And this is the first year of that.
Yep.
And for the Bills part, the Patriots also have Diggs. Like next week is really cool. It's big to the Bills, especially because of what they won't be able to do if they lose next week. But you've also got the Diggs piece, which in the first game was a lot. I mean, he's not putting up games like that.
No, it's the only game this year he's really had like that kind of impact.
Yeah, it's not just a guy that you had strong feelings about, loved when he played, hated when he left, whatever, that goes to some other random meaningless team and you watch him once every 4 years or something. No, like this is right in your hair now, Diggs. So May, Vrabel, Diggs, is where a lot of that, there's also a lot of history, but the Bills and the Patriots right now, Allen and May, that could be, probably will be, years to come.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's good. The Bills have the Bengals first. 5.5 is the number there. If the Patriots beat the Jets and the Dolphins in their final 2 games, regardless of what happens before that, they got it. That's the AFC East. 13-4 at worst if they win those 2 games, and they'll have the Bills on tiebreaker, the division record tiebreaker, because the Bills can't do better than that. Let's look for your calls at 803-0550. Here is Rick with us. Hi, Rick.
Hey, guys.
Hi, Rick. Are you there?
There for, the Bills is, if Brady has a tendency of running a play over and over and over again until you stop it. And, that's fine against a defense that's not very good, which is Pittsburgh's against the run. But I hope to God that he gets more creative than running tunnel screens and, zone reads and the same plays over and over again. And, my concern is that, his past has shown is that he's not really willing to change up the offense at all. And I hope he gives his team a chance and Allen a chance to win this game.
Okay. Yeah, I said repeatedly Sunday night and again a couple times yesterday, I don't really think that the Pittsburgh game is a blueprint. And I know you're not exclusively talking about the Pittsburgh game, but that's a game where they ran the same running play, 29 times, 30 times, whatever they did. You can't stop it. We're just going to keep doing it. I think the tackles being out played a huge part in that, and the fact that it was working played a big part in that. You should get credit for continuing to do a thing if it's going to work to the tune of letting you dominate the game. But I'd be surprised if we see another game like that. That doesn't mean he won't try to run some of the same stuff, maybe the exact same stuff that worked last week, but I don't think you'll just keep doing it if it doesn't work. If it works, I think you could see more of it, but I'd be surprised if it did.
Yeah, of course. It's nice to be able to put that on film because then you can pivot off of it, at least in a sort of a general sense. If you give a certain look and all the time you're doing the same thing off of it, sets up well for you, you would think, in the future to come up with a plan B from that same formation. Patrick is next. Hello.
Hey, guys. I'm curious if you would agree with this. I was thinking about how disturbed I would be if the Patriots win the division, which it sure looks like they're gonna. And it's like a 3 out of 10 on the disturbing scale. But the idea of them getting a 1 seed before us during this era is pretty high up there. During this year where the Chiefs and Ravens and Bengals kind of all stink. That's a tough pill to swallow that we kind of squandered that opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. That stings. That really doubles the pain or more of not winning the division.
I totally agree. I think it compounds it significantly. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on it. The other thing is, I guess, more of a theoretical question. I'm under no illusions that, fan sort of goals are not always aligned with ownership. They can still make money hand over fist as long as their team is competitive enough that they're interesting and butts are in the seats and TV's good and all that. But if hypothetically the owners were kind of uniformly kind of dynamic and creative and hands-on and hell-bent on the one goal of winning a Super Bowl, I'm curious if you own the Bills and you were running this team, if this year didn't end well, if they kind of had like a standard Bills sort of outcome, maybe the divisional round and out or something. If, the Giants have kind of leaked that they are interested or willing to trade for a coach, and that's a franchise that I think is desperate to just be respectable at this point. And now you've got, potentially Tomlin and McDermott, in this place in the offseason where they're both two, respected, solid coaches of consistent organizations. If you got a call, from the Moras and they said a first rounder is on the table, is that something you'd be interested in? And if not, why not? So I just wanted to get your 2 cents on that. Thanks, guys.
I don't think I could. I wouldn't want, unless it happens to be ugly from the inside and I have no reason to think that it is, I would not want this to end with a trade of Sean McDermott. I just don't think that's dignified. Like, as long as it took you to set it up, I think I know how you're thinking, which is like, I know.
But
like,
it's a high first-round pick. The Giants are terrible.
I'd rather just shake hands and thank each other and go from there. Would you like to have a first round? Who wouldn't? But I don't think I could ever get to that point. I don't think McDermott is going anywhere unless he really wants to. I think his situation is similar to Tomlin. And the fans are not chanting for him to be fired like they are in Pittsburgh for their guy. So it's not as bad of a situation in that sort of public way. And one thing that Will Graves from the AP told us last week about Tomlin, which has been echoed, Adam Schefter and others maybe have said the same thing, which is like, it's going to be up to him.
Right.
And one reason that Will mentioned to us is that his kids are grown. And that's not true with Sean. Like, his kids are, at least one of them is in high school in the area. So unless he wants to uproot, unless something is so weird or off, then I just don't think it happens. But I don't know. And I would be really almost shocked if ownership wanted to move on him. Bean might be different. That's been more of the, I think, not controversy, but the conversation about this year is more about
the roster.
The roster. Yep. And as you said earlier, I don't disagree with this, that you could infer from McDermott at a time or two here recently that he's disappointed in the proverbial groceries that he's got to work with. So is that too old a reference, the groceries?
No, I think
Bill
it works.
Parcells
Even
wanting to shop for the groceries?
Even if you don't know that Parcells said it, I think it's
okay.
You get it.
Yesterday, we were in a grocery store.
Right.
I love a grocery store. That was really fun. So I don't think – I'm not predicting that at all. Bean, I don't know. And then you'd have to know McDermott and Bean and their dynamic. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that either. Again, there hasn't been anything really public to use to question it. But these comments you're referring to, I get it. You know, maybe that's a sign of something. Okay. Trade Sean McDermott. Like I say in fantasy, send me an offer.
I like the creativity. I mean, I don't think it's I didn't know if you were waiting for me to take a turn or not. I don't think it's realistic, but it's an interesting idea.
There. Ross Tucker coming up at 4. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at WGR. Looks like I picked the wrong night to miss the Sabres. Smooth, chill, fun. 5-1 win over Winnipeg. Some, as Bulldog likes to say, fisticuffs.
Sure, I guess there was a little of that. Yeah.
A little bit of action on that side of things later on.
A little bit, yeah.
Next up, well, it's 6 road games now, 6 in a row. Tomorrow, 7:30 in what are they doing to us? 7:30. 7:30 in Philadelphia tomorrow night.
Yep. And then Friday night in Winnipeg, and then from there, then it's Western Canada, I think, next week.
And Seattle.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that was a tremendous. Josh Norris. He's really good. He is really good. I was reminded of watching him. I went back and looked at his season last year because he played most of the year before he got here, and then but he was hurt when he got here. I guess something that had been lingering, and then it just flared up, and he only played 3 games. But there was a point last year where I dipped in on them. So I don't know if he had just gotten back in the lineup, but I watched them in a home game where he was the best player on the ice. And I remember even saying, wow, look out for Ottawa. This Norris back, and he looks really good. But he just can never stay there. And it's at a point now, I mean, he left the lineup on opening night on a face-off play. And so early on, I think there's a power play. Someone gets waved out. Here comes Norris to take the draw. And I'm already... I've never had that reaction to someone leaning in to take a face-off before, but like every time he's near contact, it's just like, oh, please live.
It's Josh Norris, PFSD, post-face-off stress disorder you're feeling.
Right. But he was excellent. I mean, great feed on the first goal, his own goal. He was just tremendous. He had a great night.
Let's go to Mark next. Hi, Mark.
Hey, guys, how are you?
Good. Thanks for calling.
So, long-time listener from Great White North, Bills fan since the 4 in a row. My question, just want your opinion. So, like, the last few games, they've really gone, run first, run heavy. Do you think they'd still be doing that if Josh had not won the MVP last year?
Sure.
Like, do you think they'd be trying to get him more,
No, they kind of did that last year, too. He won the MVP despite it. He didn't have incredible numbers last year in really any area other than he didn't turn it over, and they won a bunch of games. So no, I don't think the MVP has anything to do with their tactics. And specifically this past week in Pittsburgh, they didn't have their tackles, and they were playing a great pass rush team. They were going to run the ball, and if they could get away with it, they were going to do it all night, and they did.
Yeah, I understand the injuries and the lack of weapons. Just a thought I had, so thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. What's the logic?
I think the logic is the caller is inferring, I think, or suggesting that they're running more now because Allen's got his trophy, and so they don't need to push him to win an MVP because he's already got one.
So the point would then be that last year they did the opposite, and you said
which they didn't. They didn't do. So yeah, but I think that's why I went there. I think that was what was being inferred.
I think they run as much as they run because they believe in it. They built a team for it. They've been very successful doing it, and that's probably all of it.
And they don't really have receivers to have a
that's
pass
what I mean.
heavy.
They have built a team for this, and if you do that, you probably should
lean into it.
Play like this. It's just, as I don't need to tell anybody that pays any attention to this, it can feel like they're wasting Allen because he's better than a game manager whose team only can win if they run it for 200 yards or something. We'll talk to Ross Tucker next here on WGR.
The Buffalo Sabres getting set to head out for a 6-game road trip. They were on the ice for practice earlier today. Notes from today's skate. Jordan Greenway, the only absence in today's practice. Meanwhile, in net, Colton Ellis had his own net, an indication that he will start in goal tomorrow night. The road trip begins tomorrow against the Philadelphia Flyers. Puck drop tomorrow at 7:30 here on WGR. To football, it's an off day for the Buffalo Bills as they get back to work tomorrow preparing for the Cincinnati Bengals. The team will give official updates to their injury report tomorrow. Around the NFL, the Denver Broncos added former Bills wide receiver Elijah Moore to their practice squad. Moore was released by the Bills last week. Los Angeles Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert is day-to-day after getting surgery on his non-throwing hand. His left hand was fractured this weekend over against the Las Vegas Raiders. The Pittsburgh Steelers have reportedly released cornerback Darius Slay, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. It was a mutual parting of ways, the Steelers signing Asante Samuel Jr. to their active roster in Slay's place. Meanwhile, the Indianapolis Colts released kicker Michael Badgley today. This holiday season, we're kicking off Mission Give Where You Live to benefit Buffalo City Mission, powered by NYSEG. Going through December 19th, you can donate brand new sweatshirts, sweatpants, hats, gloves, scarves, and non-perishable food items to help keep our community warm and fed. Just stop at any Dash's Market location and drop your donation off in the Mission Give Where You Live donation bin. If you're shopping online, you can still help and give through the Buffalo City Mission's Amazon wish list. It's sponsored by the Barnes Firm and Dash's Market. You can get more details on kiss985.com. This update is brought to you by Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Derek Kramer. You're listening to WGR Sports Radio 550.
Colts cutting their kicker. The most annoying fantasy football development in the tournaments when you can't make moves anymore. Or even in our little dinky league where, no offense to Paul, where you only get a certain number of moves.
And
the kicker, this guy missed an extra point, so he's out. I mean, if you're the Giants guy, he didn't get to the ball on a field goal attempt. That's one thing. But you can't miss an extra point, and then you can't change them out. They can, I can't. With us now is Odyssey NFL insider Ross Tucker. Insider calls are brought to you by Nationwide. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side. I'm interested, Ross, as we start, in what your attitude was with kickers in your playing career. Like, do they have to talk to you first? Are they one of the guys, or usually not? And then, if you have something like that last night, I feel like maybe that's when you can or should say something. I don't know. Maybe that's also when you don't. But he completely just did not get to the ball.
So there's a lot here. First of all, Mike, are you a very grown man complaining about fantasy football on the radio?
Evidently, yes.
Well, welcome to 20 hours a week of my life, pal.
I mean, yes.
Oh, my gosh.
You would never?
Can I just tell you the number one thing that nobody listening cares about? Your fantasy team.
I mean, we can have this conversation some other time because it's also kind of my work, and I've got 294 teams and a podcast, and I know, and everybody says this, and I know. I don't want to feel worse about it, but yes.
Do me a favor and make sure you text me or email me during March Madness so I hear how your bracket's going.
All right.
How about this kicker? Can I just say this? Because I thought, everybody's dunking on this guy for last night, and it was like, I've never seen anything quite like it. But was the hold not kind of janky? Like, the guy had his index finger and his thumb on the ball, and it was crooked, and I thought that could have set the kicker coup off to, like, I'm going to hit his hand. And he just stopped himself. But I don't know. I don't know if he talked after the game or what. But I thought the hold was kind of messed up.
Well, he did talk after the game. And I think what's really the message here is that rather than taking the 2 second, I'm killing both you guys today. Rather than taking the literally 2 seconds to Google it and see what he said, it's more fun to just talk about it and not look it up. He said that the ball was slipping in the holder's hand, so he tried to pull up. That's what he said.
Is that completely invalid in your opinion?
No, it did not look like it was a perfect hold.
Yeah.
You know what I think you should do? Kick the ball. Kick it. Kick the ball.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the dream hold you've ever wanted, but hey, Youngway, you know what the alternative is? Your buddy, the punter, getting chased by 5 professional killers and lit up.
It doesn't.
What's worse, missing the kick or having your punter from Scotland run around as like guys are trying to tear him limb from limb?
It doesn't go in the stats. It's not a miss. It's a sack in the stats.
It's not a miss kick.
It's a sack.
Right. All right.
That's where we're at now. I mean, where we're really at now is people tweeting, he took under on first half field goals.
Yeah. Right. Yes. Right.
I'm totally sending Ross my brackets in March. Totally doing that.
Right.
I'm going to do it repeatedly.
Right.
It's the end of us.
As far as kickers, I always had a good relationship with them. They're always good guys. I will say kickers and punters, and to a little bit lesser extent, long snappers, it's like they're on their own team. You know? They're not in offensive meetings. They're not in defensive meetings. So they just kind of do whatever they want during those meetings. They're not really with us out on the field most of the time. They're not really playing the same sport. You know? I mean, we've talked about this before. There's no way if we all sat down and decided to create professional football that we would include kicking to the level they do. I mean, can you imagine that? Can you imagine, think about this. All right, guys, I got an idea. Let's have 50 dudes run into each other, block and tackle all game, and then, Frank, wait, hold on a second, Frank. I got an idea. What if 3 seconds later, a guy that played soccer in high school comes out and kicks the ball between 2 posts to decide who wins?
And we want to have a special ball for that. We want to make sure to have a special different ball for that as well.
Yeah. Say it out loud. We're going to have 100 of the biggest, strongest, most violent, aggressive people that society has produced run with the ball, throw the ball, catch the ball, and hit each other. And then at the very end of the game, a lot of times, if it's a close game, everybody thinks it's really exciting. Let's bring out the guy that played high school soccer to decide who wins. It would be like in the NBA, if in overtime, instead of them playing an extra period, the equipment manager shot foul shots to decide who won the game.
We kind of have that in hockey a little bit. But
I think it's ludicrous. I like kickers. I dislike how important kicking is to the sport. And with them able to kick all these 50 and 60-yarders now, that only makes it even more pronounced.
Right. It's not going your way.
Right. But you aren't kidding.
The flip side of that is it is going my way with all these teams going for it on fourth down.
Yeah.
We're definitely getting less punting and less kicking because teams are more aggressive on fourth down, which is the way.
Right. Couple things here. There's already this year more touchdowns have been scored on fourth downs than any other year in history, full seasons. Already more touchdowns on fourth downs. So there's some evidence of that. And you couldn't be more right about the kickers. They're back in the mid 90s when I first started on the radio, I used to cover Bill's training camp. I was I'd stay at a hotel in Fredonia and live down there for 2 or 3 weeks and doing my nighttime show. And the whole team would be in meetings from like after dinner until whatever, 8 or 9 o'clock, right? Chris Moore was the Bills punter. Steve Christie was the kicker. And the two of them would be the only people on the campus. They'd be walking around with a stack of Blockbuster videos. Like they're done for the night. We're just going to go watch, Dumb and Dumber or whatever would have been out in the mid-90s. And like everybody else is going over stuff and analyzing tape. And the kicker and the punter are just like, yep, we're just going to go watch The Godfathers, parts 1, 2, and 3.
They're all in the weight room.
Right.
Well, and that's the thing, too. It's like, I think part of the biggest thing that makes football special to me is the contact. It's the violence. That's what I played soccer till I was 12. I played basketball through high school, played baseball through 9th grade. I really like basketball a lot. The violence and the collisions is what separates football from other sports. And that's okay to say that. It's okay to feel that way. There's a primal thing that there's a reason why, like, if people get in a fight, everybody likes to stand around and watch, because there's part of us that goes back centuries that's ingrained in us. So I really dislike two guys having no threat of violence or danger whatsoever, or very minimal, very, very minimal. I just think that goes against, antithetical to the whole rest of the sport and what makes the sport great. Now, listen, a lot of people think like quarterbacks throwing touchdown passes is what makes the sport great. I get it. That does not excite me as much as the physicality.
I mostly watch for the refs, but people have different tastes.
Well, the refs or the ref analyst.
Love the ref analyst.
The rules analyst is the real high point now. Ross, then you must have loved Sunday's Bills game. if passing is not your favorite thing and you despise the kicking aspect of it, the Bills running for like the same run play 30 times and running for 249 yards in Pittsburgh had to be right up your alley.
Well, that was incredible from a Bills perspective, and I thought borderline embarrassing from a Steelers standpoint.
Yep.
I mean, they're down their two starting offensive tackles. So, they're probably not going to throw it as much. And when they do, it's going to be quick passing, et cetera, et cetera. And yet you let them run all over you like that? I mean, I thought that was bad. I thought that was – it was great for the Bills, great for Bills fans, but really thought – like, you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, for goodness sakes. Act like it.
You've got Fire Tomlin chants in the crowd. What is your Mike Tomlin take at this point, Ross? I mean, it's the same thing every year, isn't it? Different quarterback and different, storylines throughout the year, but Pittsburgh just in the middle, maybe a playoff team again. Is it time for a change there? What do you think will happen?
I do think Mike Tomlin's a really good football coach. I also think I've heard a lot of people that are older and wiser than me say that, like, at a certain point, a message gets stale. And, you just need a change. Now, you got to be careful what you wish for, because Penn State did that, and it right now looks like that might end up being a disaster. And I had said when they did it, careful what you wish for. But for the NFL, I think both things can be true. I think Mike Tomlin's a good coach, and he'll get hired immediately by somebody else. But also, it might be time in Pittsburgh. It just feels like. Now, the flip side is, when's the last time you actually had a top half of the league quarterback? But the flip side to that is, then why are they going all in with Darius Slay and DK Metcalf and, all these trades, Jalen Ramsey and stuff, it's like they have this commitment to try to win a playoff game because they haven't since 2016. That's a long time in Pittsburgh to not win a playoff game.
Well, the Bills have a Patriots problem still lingering this year. New England now 11-2, Buffalo 8-4. It seems like it's pretty much a Bills season. We just didn't have this before in the last 5 years, a team that has this kind of a lead late. New England on display last night. Ross, the Bills may end up having to settle for a wild card that's not known yet. They'll play next Sunday. But New England, I think, is more and more looking the part of a legit good team, if not great.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They are really well-rounded. They ran it well last night, even with the left side of their offensive line banged up and not out there. Their physicality on special teams and on Jackson Dart was super impressive. They're good on special teams. Marcus Jones. I mean, they're just a good team. You know, that it's really impressive because I did 2 of their games last year for CBS, or one CBS, one NFL Network, and I thought, you know what? They are the worst offensive line in the league, the worst receiving core in the league. So for them, this quickly to be legitimately one of the best teams in the league and have an MVP quarterback is super impressive.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you could see, respect variable, expect him to get that right. Like May, see his trajectory and think he's going to be really good. But from 4-13 in back-to-back years, last year, 1 year with Gerard Mayo, one and done. Here comes Vrabel. I mean, could you see the 1 seed and 11-2 through 13 games coming? I mean, I definitely did not.
No, I think that we talked about this a lot on the Even Money Betting podcast, and I want to say their season win total was either like 8.5 or 9 or 9.5.
That's right.
I think it might have been 8.5. And I said, listen, they're going to be better. They're going to win more games. But I don't think it's more than 7 or 8. And I certainly think 7 or 8 are more likely than them getting a 9 or 10. You know, Vrabel's not a miracle worker. The O-line, the receiving core, well, the joke's on me. I will say their schedule is the easiest in the NFL by far. But guess what? There's still NFL games, still NFL teams. And NFL teams still blow games against other bad NFL teams all the time. So it's still impressive.
What's going on in Philadelphia, Ross? Chicago, you don't see this. Speaking of how the Steelers played, Philadelphia at home just getting run over by the Bears. Is that a fluke or is that a really bad sign?
You know, I don't know. That's a really good question. It's so funny, too, because I do a lot of stuff in Philadelphia. I do the Eagles preseason. Every city I go on, that's one of the questions. Mm-hmm. What's going on in Philadelphia? Mm-hmm. And the answer is they had a good run there for a while. I mean, they won 4 in a row. The defense was lights out against the Lions and the Packers. I mean, these are good football teams. And then it's like they collapsed in the second half of against the Cowboys, and it's almost like they had a hangover against the Bears. Same thing happened earlier in the year. They collapsed in the fourth quarter against the Broncos, and then they had a hangover on a Thursday night against the Giants and lost that one. It's like history repeating itself, which is weird. And so now we'll see if they can bounce back Monday night. The stunning part of that wasn't the offensive issues. The offense has had issues. It was that the defense got run over like that. Kudos to the Bears' offensive line. Kudos to Ben Johnson schematically, because it seemed like he kind of had an edge and kind of had the Eagles coaching staff and defense in a blender a little bit there.
Philadelphia is here week 17. That could be good. We knew it all along. I mean, that's a marquee matchup a few weeks away.
One more thing on them. Like, how much of, like, what – it just seems like there's always drama there. And I know, like, A.J. Brown's in the middle of it largely. Is there does Sirianni – could he be in trouble because of the seeming from out here, the dysfunction that appears to be ever present there?
No, I mean, barring some type of epic collapse, no. I mean,
they won the Super Bowl last year. I know it's a kind of a nutty question.
They won the Super Bowl last year, and he's the winningest coach in the NFL right now. I mean, he's winning it over I just saw this clip earlier. It's kind of it's a crazy stat, but it's like he's winning it over 70%, and Jim Harbaugh is like 68%. They're the only two coaches to be over 68% winning percentage with this many games under their belt, like in NFL history, since Mike Ditka and Joe Gibbs in '88. It's like a crazy stat.
Yeah.
So I think that's very unlikely. You have to understand, too, like, the Philadelphia market is sort of like the New York market, where unless everything is going absolutely perfectly, they're going to try to find something. You know, even if they're winning, if one unit's not playing well, they're going to find the drama there. If they lose, they're always going to find somebody to have some anonymous source that somebody said this, and they say that they specifically try to pick players that can handle that, because that's going to be the way it is. Like, they know that that's just how it is.
Insider Calls brought to you by Nationwide for your insurance and financial needs. Nationwide is on your side. Do you have games this weekend?
Just Thursday night. So I don't know if you guys carry. You guys maybe have a Sabres game or whatever, but
no, we'll have it. We'll have your game. Dallas,
okay,
Detroit.
Great. Yeah. Cowboys at Detroit. Really, really huge game for both those teams' playoff hopes. So I'll be doing that one on Thursday night, and then I have the rest of the weekend off, which is really good timing because my daughters are in Wizard of Oz this weekend.
Okay.
Oh, sweet. All right.
Should I start Isaac Tesla?
How did
we came full circle there.
Yeah, we did. No, I had an oddball here. How did Lincoln treat you?
It was great. Yeah, I like Lincoln. It's just like Midwest cold is different than East Coast cold. It was really, really cold. There's nothing to block the wind. There's no mountains. There's no trees. It's just like It's like you're in a wind tunnel. It's crazy.
Thanks for your time, Ross. We'll talk next week.
Sounds great. See you guys.
There you go. There's our dude, Ross Tucker. His insider call brought to you by Nationwide for your insurance and financial needs. Nationwide is on your side.
It wasn't worth detailing to Ross, but when I made the point about the Colts kicker, it wasn't even my team. That's my genius at work. Is like I'm not really talking about my team.
You were talking to everyone else out there that might have the Colts kicker.
Yes, it's annoying when your kicker gets cut. You don't even necessarily know it unless you're paying super close attention, where there's an injury or something, and you don't have a backup or a backup plan. And that's all I meant. I probably have this guy somewhere, but it was not a specific cry for help or anything like that. Okay, 803-0550 to reach us. The Bills still in the Patriots' shadow here, 2.5 games out with, the Bills have 5 left, the Patriots 4. Lines are open for your calls. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
They'll get back to work tomorrow preparing for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bills did make a transaction today. They signed defensive end Andre Jones Jr. to their practice squad. Around the NFL, the Denver Broncos added wide receiver Elijah Moore to their practice squad. Moore was released by the Bills last week. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert is day-to-day after getting surgery on his non-throwing hand. He injured it against the Raiders over the weekend. The Steelers reportedly releasing cornerback Darius Slay. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, it's a reportedly mutual parting of ways between Slay and the team. The Steelers signed Asante Samuel Jr. to their active roster spot in Slay's place, and the Steelers also claimed wide receiver Adam Thielen from the Vikings off of waivers. The Colts released kicker Michael Badgley today as well. To hockey, the Sabres, they were on ice for a practice earlier today as they get set for a 6-game road trip. The road trip begins tomorrow night against the Philadelphia Flyers. Puck drop at 7:30 tomorrow night. Those are your sports headlines brought to you by Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Derek Kramer. You're listening to WGR Sports Radio 550.
That is Mitch Morse, former Bills center. Bills and Bengals Sunday at 1. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550, talking about Cincinnati, or more so far today, New England. I'd have to admit. Which team should we be talking about more, the Bengals or the Patriots? Are the Patriots different for you than the Broncos?
I'm more worried about the Patriots than I am the Broncos.
You think they're better?
Yeah, I don't think the defense is, anywhere near what Denver has, but to me the quarterback is so much better. I think Knicks they've won a lot. They'll probably continue to win a lot. Peyton's, offensive genius, whatever. Like, push comes to shove, I think Knicks is going to hold them back. And I think May is almost at sky's the limit. I mean, he's not an incredible individual playmaker. You said this earlier. Like, he's not quite Allen, but he makes all the throws. I mean, he's on the money. These shots down the field, dropping in the bucket. Like, he's money. And I do feel like he's got the sort of Josh, the guys are with me, they want to ride with me kind of vibe. Forever, how much that is worth. I'm more worried about New England in the big scheme of things than I am Denver. Yes, and it's not just because they're in the AFC East. I think because they're more in my kitchen, and we're going to see them twice every year. I think if they were leading the AFC West with an 11-2 record, and Denver was our problem in the division, I think I would still say New England's the team that I'm more scared of.
Yep, I think I agree with that. Going to Denver is a different deal, and the Bills and Patriots are going to be, and they already are, familiar with each other on a different level. It might not be, well, who knows? I mean, the Bills are very likely at this point a wild card team. They could still finish first. They could still miss out. But very likely they're going somewhere in the first round. We're getting close to a point where we're going to want to rank those possibilities.
Right.
One of them will be New England or Denver because they can't both have the bye. AFC South winner, Baltimore, or I guess Pittsburgh or Cincinnati, even possibly from the AFC North. Somebody. AFC South could be one of 3 teams. So
right.
A lot of different possibilities, but that's what it looks like now. Still, lots of time to go. Here is Jamie with us. Hello.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Good. Thank you for calling us.
Good. Bulldog, I wanted to thank you when we had that issue with the 13 seconds, you got me through 3 or 4 days that were really rough, and I was feeling your pain, buddy.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad I was there for you.
Okay. The question I have, I've been watching the Bills. I'm 66. I've been watching the Bills since the TV was black and white and fuzzy. My understanding of the playoff is the higher seed you have in the playoff, the better team you have, or the higher ranking you get more choices. Correct?
Well, you win a division, you play at home. Yeah.
Right. The question I have is there are 4 teams out of the 7 right now that are 8-4. One of them is the Bills. The Jaguars are 79% predicting to get to the playoffs. The Chargers are 61. The Colts are 72, and Bills in 7th place is 90%. Why are the probabilities all over the place? I don't understand.
Who you play, and probably in most of these metrics, there'd be that under consideration. The Chargers have a tough schedule. The Bills have less tough of a schedule, home and away. Also, like your chances of winning the division, a team like the Ravens at 6-6 would have a better chance than maybe a team at 7-5 on the outside or something like that.
Right. Jacksonville is in first place, but they're tied with the second place team, Indianapolis, record-wise, and there's a third team in the mix that also could win the division or get a wild card, and that could push Jacksonville out. I think that might explain why their odds. There's a second team in the division that could be a problem for either playoff position, a division win or the wild card, whereas the Bills are just dealing with one team in their division. So there's not as much of a problem there.
Your point differential probably would matter, like what you've done.
Right. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Sure.
You cleared up muddy waters. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Where was I during 13 seconds? Did I not exude the same sense of calmness?
I don't know.
The opposite?
I don't know. You're not as sympathetic as me. I don't know. I'm not sure what happened.
Is that what it was? Was it more like you were calm during those times or irate?
I don't remember. I don't remember. I just remember feeling, Luke, we're never going to be not talking about this.
Right?
Right.
So far, you're right.
We're never going to stop.
Just came up again.
Until they win, this is going to come up all the time.
Yeah, there's only so many hours in a show, and in a week, and a month, and a year. I remember saying this during the Briere-Drury Sabres peak, when they would play a playoff game every other night. And instead of having like one day to react to last night's Game 6 of some series, I wanted a week to do that. There needed to be more time, not for them, but for us to kind of like reflect and process and enjoy, or the opposite. Then there was. It's still only one day. You still just the next day is one day, and right after that game, it's so raw. Like, what just happened? Is this going to be relived forever? Yes. It's 5 years later or 4 years later, and it is. And like we've all said it. If they win, it won't be, because then it'll just be like an asterisk or something.
Right.
But it is the moment in this era where they came the closest to breaking through, even though it was the second round and not the third round. And because of that, it's like it's still even raw, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's obviously something we remember very well. But there should be more time to like, okay, this just happened. We're going to be on for 700 hours instead of 2 today.
So we can wrap it up and put it, and then we're done. But then we're done with it.
It deserves 700 hours. Maybe by now it's been at least that.
Yeah, probably.
Do you know what I mean? Like, not every game obviously is of the same importance, and yet our shows are the same length.
Yeah.
What do you think of that big point? That profound observation?
I'm trying to think of a good amount of time to sit with it. Maybe like 700 hours.
Yeah. Was there a Sabres game the next night? And we had to stop talking about 13 seconds because the Sabres were in St. Louis. And who's in the lineup and who's in goal. Just, you know how weird that is?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I know we talked a lot about it. I don't remember. Maybe the guy's even referencing there was a pocket in an off season one, like months after that game, where you were away. I know I was still in the attic, and I just sort of one day just sort of stumbled in. I didn't really have a mind to let's take 13 seconds out for a spin, right? I just sort of said something and another thing, and maybe somebody called, and it just turned into a thing that I ended up doing for 2 days, which was the drought versus 13 seconds, right? Which hurts more, which is more painful, and maybe the caller's even referring to that because that was just me. And it still kind of blew my mind what the things that some people were feeling and saying even then. It was still pretty raw, I think. That it still is. It still is, I think.
Yep. The game in New England next Sunday is not moving. It might have seemed for much of the season that would be a flex candidate, but I read today that it would not be moved.
The deadline to move it has passed.
So 1 o'clock this week and then 1 o'clock next week. And the week after that, Cleveland. They're not moving that game.
I don't think they'll move that game.
Bills at Browns?
No, probably not. And then the Eagle game is already at 4:25, and then the finale is TBD, just like the whole league.
The caller's talking about percentages. We played around with them a little bit on ADP chasing this morning, which you can watch on YouTube if you care to. And we used ESPN analytics. He wanted to know why the percentages are different for teams that have the same record. And there are other things even beyond what I mentioned. I mean, it can be tiebreaker stuff, just a lot of things. But on this graphic Zach Lenar's built for us that we use, I'm looking at it now, Bills 90%, that's the number the caller used, 90% to make it, 6% for the bye. That's not even just the division, that's the one. But the team atop the division right now is the one, Patriots.
Right.
So I don't have a division odds percentage here, but it wouldn't be great. Very likely wild card, as we have talked about, as we all know. Still, though, I'll maybe want to get back to this. BetMGM, if you watched Bet Sweats today, they showed the Super Bowl odds, and the Bills remain the shortest odds in the AFC. If I were a Patriots fan, this would annoy me. I don't think I would be confused by it, but it would annoy me.
Yeah.
I've got 11-2 here. I've got the MVP favorite. I beat you on the road. I deserve to be above you in the Super Bowl odds. They're not, though. I mean, it's just the experience and the ceiling the Bills have.
Well, beating Pittsburgh changed that because last week they were 8th overall. I don't know where they stood in the conference, but they were plus 1,800. New England was plus 1,900, I think, last week. Again,
okay.
Last Monday, I know I was alone, and I was looking at that. And there had to be at least a couple of AFC teams ahead of them, that if they were 8th. There weren't 7 NFC teams ahead of the Bills. But that it changed, a performance like Sunday solidifies their chances of getting in, period, and, maybe style points, whatever. So their odds improved with one win over Pittsburgh.
I think today was Bills plus 1,000, Patriots plus 1,100.
Okay, so they're still separated, the same gap.
Rams plus 450. Then second might have been Seattle plus 850. Big gap there for a team in the Rams that just lost. 803-0550 for your calls. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. We'll be right back. This is WGR. Week 14 is next in the NFL. 4 teams on bye. That's ridiculous. 4 teams on bye. Don't tell Ross I complained about this. 4 teams on bye in Week 14.
How
Really?
in the world have we been? Is it 5 years with Ross already? Around there, right? It's been a few years. It's at least 3. I don't know if it's 5.
Okay.
Right? How is he just now realizing? Well, 2 things: A, that you have 300 fantasy football teams. B, that I'm hopelessly lazy.
I don't. I'll speak for myself. I don't brag about it. And again, I wasn't even referring to my team earlier.
It just felt like it was
such an easy button.
It was like a news flash to him that suddenly you were that guy, and I just can't believe he didn't realize you were that guy.
Yeah, some people, they hear the word fantasy and they just cannot wait to make fun of you.
Yeah.
Even though it's millions of people. Like, all right, go ahead. You can be locker room guy. You can condescend to me if you want. Sure, that's right. I wasn't talking about my team, but I was talking about fantasy. You got me. 4 teams on bye, whether it's fantasy or not, it's annoying because it's so late in the season. New England, the Giants, last night's teams, San Francisco, and Carolina. So, we're getting to the fantasy playoffs here. In some cases, we're in it. And no Christian McCaffrey, no Tet McMillan, no May.
Right.
You and I are playing for a playoff spot. I got all those guys. Not McCaffrey.
Yeah.
But I have 6 guys on bye.
I've got a Patriot.
That was my team.
I've got a Patriot and I got a Kittle. Not that he does anything, but still, it's Fannin Jr. time again for Tunsil's gas mask.
That's not so bad.
That's not so bad. I know, right? But
he's good.
Still,
the Bills will get him in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Harold Fannin, he's good. Here is Aldo with us. Hello.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good, thank you.
Great show. I just want to ask you what your opinion on what drives me absolutely crazy about Joe Brady on the screen pass. I've been watching all year long, and I don't think we've pulled it off one time successfully. If anything, we've probably got negative cumulative yards instead of anything positive. I remember back in the days with Chan Gailey, he was a master of the screen pass. Nothing against the screen pass. I don't know why he keeps going back to it. Nothing with Shakir. I with our backs, I don't know. Why? You guys tell me what you think. It drives me absolutely up the wall. Watching him call the screen pass, I don't think I've seen it once successfully, maybe once all year long.
Well, of course it's going to be more than that.
Yeah,
but
there's at least one long touchdown off it. I'm almost positive.
It's really you might love the screen pass if Brady. He might love it, or he might just feel like he has to settle for it because he doesn't think his guys can get open down the field. So how do I get the ball?
Right.
I'm going to say playmakers. In theory, that's what it should be, to playmakers. How do I do it? I don't love it either because I don't really think they are playmakers for the most part. And no, it's not like it's a sure thing at all, this play. But it's one way to spread the ball around, right? It's just obviously.
Right. I don't love it tactically either, but it's, to me, a gross exaggeration to say it never works. Because if it never worked, they would never do it. Like there is something dangling there that makes them want to do it. So it's one of those plays that every time it doesn't work, it feels like it hasn't worked 10 times.
Maybe.
And then when it does work, you're just like, oh, that was a good play. And you kind of it's a little like the 4th down stuff, right? When a coach doesn't go for it, we dwell on it and we talk about what a coward he was and he should have gone for it and the math and all the stuff. And then, but when he does, and he does it so regularly, it doesn't even resonate at all. Like Sunday, like 2 touchdown drives in the second half. One was scored on a 4th down and goal. The other featured a 4th and 2 that they went for and made. And those don't even get highlighted anymore, and nor should they really. It's pretty ordinary to do that now. But as soon as you don't do it for whatever reason, it's like, why does he never do it? He does it all the time. We just don't dwell on it anymore because it's pretty ordinary.
I didn't know that 4th down stat you mentioned to Ross. Bills on 4th down this year, 10 for 17, their opponents, percentage-wise, a little better, 9 for 14. But, I mean, of course, you know me, for years I've wanted to see the league evolve in this area, and they still do it, even though you still have announcers that just refuse to get online and learn at all, like last night's guy. Just, I still don't get it. I'm sure I'll be pilloried. Well, you want to be? You want to be right, or do you want to just sort of mock people who do want to be right? Aikman, how do you want it? Is it just it's easier to just dadgummit? I don't get it. That's just easier, I guess. Pays pretty good. I hate it. It shouldn't be okay to just sit there and give up on the whole thing and say, well, I don't know. It's beyond me. I guess you're going to make fun of me. That's right. Because you don't want to know. That's right. And when he talked about the Giants punting later in the game, this is a different point, but he referred back to when they went for 2 and like, how does this line up? And like, well, it doesn't because the Giants are not playing to win. The Giants are did you notice? They're giving the ball to Devin Singletary on every play, down by 20. They're not playing to win. They're playing to get through it. They're playing to not have Jackson Dart get hurt. That's why they're punting in that situation, because they're not actually trying to win the game. Seems pretty obvious, but I don't know. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 803-0550. This is WGR.
Buffalo Bills as they get back on the practice field tomorrow, getting ready for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bills did make a transaction today, signing defensive end Andre Jones Jr. to their practice squad this afternoon. Around the NFL, the Denver Broncos add former Bills wide receiver Elijah Moore to their practice squad. Moore was released by the Bills last week. The Pittsburgh Steelers making a couple of moves today, releasing cornerback Darius Slay and bringing in Asante Samuel Jr. from their practice squad to the active roster spot. The Steelers also claiming Adam Thielen, the wide receiver from Minnesota, off of waivers. Los Angeles Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert is day-to-day after getting surgery on his non-throwing hand. His left hand was fractured over the weekend against the Las Vegas Raiders. To hockey, the Buffalo Sabres took to the ice today for practice as they get ready for a 6-game road trip. Notes from today's skate: forward Jordan Greenway was the only absence in today's practice. Meanwhile, goaltender Colton Ellis had his own net, an indication he is the likely starter tomorrow night against the Philadelphia Flyers. This holiday season, we're kicking off Mission Give Where You Live to benefit Buffalo City Mission. It's powered by NYSEG. Going through December 19th, you can donate brand new sweatshirts, sweatpants, hats, gloves, scarves, and non-perishable food items to help keep our community warm and fed. Just stop by any Dash's Market location, drop off your donation in the Mission Give Where You Live donation bin. If you're shopping online, you can still help and give through the Buffalo City Mission's Amazon wish list. It's sponsored by the Barnes Firm and Dash's Market. Get all the details at kiss985.com. This update is brought to you by Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Derek Kramer for WGR Sports Radio 550.
That's old news. It's been settled.
I folded.
I'm still waiting for you to get another notice. What do you mean you sent $100? What does that have to do with anything? You owe.
I think
Too bad.
I think it's over. I got an email like, thank you, but whatever. I think we're done.
I just took a walk, which, by the way, it's not the best day for it because just more and more construction in our place, and it's so dusty and hot out there today. But anyway, I did. And I thought it's a good way for me to, get my mind moving. And I thought about how so much of the offseason, we're just talking about the Bills' chances. And there was one point that I liked, and I would keep hearing, and I'm thinking about Aaron Schatz for this, how, all right, well, what has happened here in 5 years? They've won the division 5 years in a row, but they can't beat Kansas City and once Cincinnati in the playoffs. That's it in a nutshell. They haven't been able to get there in January. And Aaron said, look, that doesn't only happen on your best teams or in your best seasons. And he referred to the Manning Colts. They go like 14-0 one year and just they were dominant in regular seasons, but they would lose in the playoffs to New England, usually.
Right.
And that was their story, much like what the Bills' story is. But the year they broke through and they beat New England to do it was a season which was more of a struggle for them. It was not their best. They were not undefeated for 14 weeks or anything. Like they were down a little bit, but it fell right in the playoffs, whether that's luck or matchups. Maybe New England was not at its best that year. Is it 2006, I think, is the year Indianapolis wins? And it's like,
that's right, yeah.
So it's just not a perfect correlation. You're going to have seasons where you're dominant all year and lose, and that's kind of the Bills last year, I would say. Think about last year, just what a walk it was from that Houston loss almost all the way to the end. beating the Chiefs in there and beating Detroit in Detroit. The one Ram loss is it.
Right.
And even that was a little fluky. So really just an incredible year. And then it ended in Kansas City again. So there's that point, that's a way to feel optimistic about the Bills. I'll often, for years, have been looking at the betting markets to take a cue. What does somebody who isn't a Bills fan thinking about them? And there they are as the first choice in the AFC today to win the AFC title, above New England, which is 2.5 games ahead of them and looks really sharp. So you've got that. You also have, if you want it, the fact that the Chiefs are 6-6, and there is a decent chance they will not make it at all, as we know from following the league. We know this. They play Houston this week. Not easy. They still have Denver again, the Chargers again. Like they have a tougher path because they're 6-6.
Right.
And you might like that. If your attitude about the Bills has been, really, they're great, there's nothing really that's a problem, it's just Kansas City, it's just Mahomes is the problem. He's too good. Well, you might not see him. So you've got a few things here you can cling to. It's sort of ironic that, and we talked about this yesterday and, on postgame, games like the Pittsburgh game and Carolina, where the Bills have really dominated, we almost just don't give them credit for that because there's not enough passing or they're just not. It's more of the story is more of the loser in these games, like the Steelers. The Steelers were the bigger story from that game, I think. And you probably should give them more credit than they get.
I think that definitely happens, and I think it's harder to impress a fan base that has been on this ride, even though there isn't a championship there. That maybe even makes it worse, because at least if you had won one at some point here between 20 and now, it'd be like, well, we know they'll get it right or figure it out, or there wouldn't be this pressure, this immense pressing on everyone involved. It feels like they gotta get it done. They're not going to get one before Allen is out of his prime. They're wasting him. All this sort of stuff. None of that is present if you've at least won one time, right? So there's that. But yeah, I mean, how excited do you want to get when you beat Carolina with Andy Dalton playing quarterback 40-9? I think 3 or 4 years ago, you might have felt a lot cleaner about it, a lot easier to find your way to being impressed by that. But what comes with when you settle for is not exactly how I want to put it. When you're living in a world where we know only January matters, I mean, play that all the way out. I mean, by virtue of saying, if you really feel that way, and I don't entirely feel that way, but I understand it, and I have enough of an appreciation for it. I feel it too. It's hard to be impressed by wins over teams that don't look good in November or even early December. Or I guess Sunday was still November, right? Yeah, yesterday was the first. So you're just sort of in this spot where I'm hard to impress. I think the fan base is hard to impress. And maybe the hardest bit of everything you just laid out there is thinking the Bills are great because of it. Because I don't think I've been saying for 2 days already, this game against Pittsburgh doesn't demonstrate to me that they're all set. What was encouraging about it was that they showed that they could find their way without their tackles, because the last time they even had them in a game, they had no answers for helping them and getting through a game without them at their best. So now the backups are in. Oh, my God, what now? And Allen got hit only because he chose to run, or they called run plays, but whatever. He didn't get he wasn't harried at all. It was easy. But the hard part is, do I have enough? Are they as good? Last year they looked even better than they do this year, I think, offensively. Although a lot of the advanced stuff, like Allen's EPA per play, is still in the top 5 in the league. The guys ahead of him it's May and Stafford and I forget who else. But
Hopefully Prescott.
It's not like he's having, I think he is on that list. Like Allen is, like the offense is damaged permanently or something. It just doesn't quite look like all that to us. And I think our version of what qualifies as all that is always leaping out ahead of us. It's just we just can't quite get our hands around it. And the playoff failures, I think, paint a lot of that picture for us. Even if we're not, like, I don't think people are consciously deciding to feel that way. I think it just happens. You're a sports fan. You've seen your team be this good and not get there. You're watching them this year. They don't seem to be as good, right? Where are all the good players? Where are the good receivers? Where's my pass rush? Where's everything that these good teams have? We don't seem to have that in long supply, if at all. And so it just every year. That's why a month ago I said we're not going to make it to January. That's calmed down, I think. But all I got to do is lose to Cincinnati on Sunday, and we'll be right back to it. We're not going to make it to January.
You lose to Cincinnati, you're going to be meaning that more literally.
Right.
Like losing to Pittsburgh would have meant. Like
right.
they really might not make it to
right.
the playoffs, or at least.
Right.
Let's go to Jim here. Hi, Jim.
Hey guys, happy holidays. How you guys doing?
Thank you. Doing great.
Good. So I'm just really confused. I mean, the Bills have really confused me from week to week all year round. As far as Patriots, Kansas City, I hate the Patriots more than I hate Kansas City. I mean, they're equally kind of the same, but I got a buddy that's a Patriots fan, and he's been razzing me, and I just, if we lose to them again, I don't know. But it's just confusing to me, the offense all year, right? You look at last week, we run basically two running plays all game, right? And we run it down the 17th ranked running defense out there, right? With two backup tackles, right? But you look at the receiving, which has really confused me all year, right? You look at our receiving from last game. Cook was the number one receiver with 3 receptions for 33 yards. Then you had Knox behind him with 3 for 28, and then Johnson behind him for 3 for 20. Like, our receiver core just seems discombobulated, and Josh seems like he doesn't trust anybody when he's looking down the field, And it's just this year, it's just really been a consistency of that. The game before that, I think Johnson was the number one receiver, right? A running back. I mean, and it's not like, and I get it, third down running back, whatever, but with the receivers we have, I mean, Brandon Beane's kind of looking like a clown to me when he said, we're good with the receivers we got. We're just going to roll with it, And then where are we going to the next nursing home to pick up our next player? Like, we're bringing all these guys back that are older, not that they're not good or we're good in their day, but I mean, Cook. I remember Cook running with Drew Brees down the field and Brees throwing to him. I mean, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and he's been with 3 teams since then. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, it's just like, it just seems like we're discombobulated, and then we have 2 backup tackles as Anderson and Vandermark come in, and like you said, Josh wasn't really running for his life like he was the past couple games. He actually had time. The only time, like you said, he got hit is when he wanted to run. And then we were running it down their throats. And this is a Tomlin defense in Pittsburgh. So it's not, you know what I mean? Like, and we what did we do? Break 2 records, 2 rushing records in there? And it's like, okay, so what is what is our identity, right? Like, going into the playoffs, going into these next 2 games, Cincinnati and the Patriots, what is our identity? What does that look like? And it's just been really, it looks like it's just been really discombobulated, and Josh doesn't trust his receivers. And I just wanted to know your thought process on that.
I mean, we've been
listen to the show every day, and you'll know. Any day.
They want to run it. They can run it. They're excellent at running it. They are, to me, not at all proven passing it, and you touched on it. I mean, they're dipping into the well anywhere they can find someone available that they think might be able to help them, which is, credit to them for continuing to try, but it's not likely to have a big impact, if any impact at all, I think. So that is the thing of this season. And it's not just because Bean made the spectacle out of it. I mean, it's enhanced it. But believe me, if he hadn't called into the morning show for that scheduled appearance with the guys after the draft and did what he did, we'd still be in here talking about whether they have enough at receiver. It's just, I don't know that Mina Kimes would be talking about it, but we would still be, because we're here and we thought that and we still do. It's the biggest question, I think, about their team to me. And I don't even think it's that close. Like, the defense, the tackling, the running game, the run defense, all this stuff. Look at their losses this year and look at the points and look at the passing game in those games, or the offense in general. Like, they lost by 10 to Atlanta, scoring 14 points. They lost by 3, scoring 20 to New England. They scored, 19 in Houston. The offense has not had enough. They could have, if they had a better passing game, overcome some of their defensive shortcomings in those games. But they don't have enough to do it. So that is the thing that, to me, is the most discouraging in the overall, because I don't think it's going to get significantly, bankably better. They might have a good day like they had against Tampa Bay a couple of weeks ago. Somewhere in here, they'll hit some throws and Allen will have a big day. But are you a team that, when it's 3rd and 6 and you're on the road in the AFC divisional round, have you got it? Like, there's 4 minutes to go and you need a first down to kill the clock, or you need a first down to get in field goal range. Are you going to have it? They haven't had enough, even when Diggs was here. So I think they've really been negligent about that position.
You can say it makes sense, like, week to week, it's confusing. One of the caller's words was confusing. Sure. It's not, though, really in terms of what the NFL usually is. Like, pick any team, and I bet I could give me Carolina and tell me their season isn't confusing. So there's a lot of teams like that. Atlanta would be another one. And there are a lot of them. Miami's rolling, by the way. That's a little bit confusing. They fired their GM. The coach seemed like he was going to be out. Now they're on a winning streak. That's just how the league tends to be. Not to cop out on it. I mean, there are many details in there. But week to week, sure. Year to year, last year to this year, how overall different really is it? Statistically, it's not that different. One of Bean's, and this is a totally fair point for him to have referred to, is like the record point total, 30 points a game, and how they were so productive. They were second in the league in scoring last year. This year, they're 5th. This year, they are second in the league in total yards. Second. Last year, they were 10th. Last year, they were 9th in passing yards and 26th in attempts. So they were efficient. This year, they are 10th in passing yards and 27th in attempts. They are the same in total, the aggregate. This offense versus last year, what's Cook? Cook is over 1,000. He had a 200-yard game. He had a huge game in Pittsburgh, 32 carries, right? Like, that's happening again.
Yeah, he's at a career high. He's got 1,200 yards already.
1,200 yards already. Last year, he had the touchdowns more than this year, but that's regression. That's normal. So there are more complaints or complainers this year, and I think maybe there are turnovers this year, and last year there weren't any, which was insane. But that's not a point I hear on this show being made, from fans or from us, is like, oh, you got to stop with the turnovers. We almost like the turnovers because it means you're being a little bit aggressive. Certain kinds of turnovers anyway. But that's different. But again, that's to be expected. That's just a regression kind of thing. How different really is it? They've been through different receivers. They've also had Kincaid out and Palmer out, and they lost Samuel now. They've really had their struggles with injuries, more so, I would say, than last year, certainly at that position. The difference is that there is another team in the division that's really good, if not better. And that was not part of the equation we were planning on before the season. I don't know if the Bills are really that different of a team, though. On offense, I still think defensively is where they're going to get beat because they're just slow and not consistent. And you have games like The number one takeaways for me from games like the Steelers and even the Panthers with Andy Dalton is just those offenses were inept. Like the Steelers' offense was inept. They were not easy to say. How could I know this? I mean, it's not like they're that bad every week, but that did not look like a team. I mean, quarterbacks playing with a broken wrist. They could not function at all on offense. So that'll be different Sunday. That should be very different Sunday.
It would almost be shocking if it's not.
It would
really
totally
different.
be shocking
Yeah.
if the Bills shut down the Bengals. 5.5-point favorites. Bengals defense isn't good. We'll talk to Joe Goodberry tomorrow about Cincinnati. 803-0550. Thanks for the call, Jim. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog back after this break. This is WGR.
Day off for the Buffalo Bills. They'll get back to work tomorrow preparing for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bills made a transaction today, signing defensive end Andre Jones Jr. to their practice squad. Around the NFL, the Denver Broncos added former Bills receiver Elijah Moore to their practice squad. Moore was cut by the Bills last week. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert is day-to-day after getting surgery on his non-throwing hand. The Steelers, with a flurry of moves, reportedly releasing cornerback Darius Slay, signing cornerback Asante Samuel Jr. to their active roster in Slay's place, while also being awarded wide receiver Adam Thielen off of waivers. The Indianapolis Colts, meanwhile, released kicker Michael Badgley this afternoon. The Buffalo Sabres were at practice earlier today as they get ready for their 6-game road trip starting tomorrow in Philadelphia. Forward Jordan Greenway, the only absence in today's practice, while goaltender Colton Ellis is the likely starter tomorrow night against Philadelphia. Those are your Paddock Chevrolet sports headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Derek Kramer for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Ross Tucker with us earlier today. Drake May is the betting favorite now to win the MVP at age 23. Matthew Stafford is second off a game where he threw a couple of picks, maybe more than 2 turnovers perhaps for Stafford, and a loss to Carolina. The third choice is Dak Prescott. And I have a ticket on Prescott from August, and I completely gave up on it pretty quick when they had a couple losses early in the season where, all right, well, I always say the MVP has to be a quarterback on a team that wins at least 12 games. And that's not going to happen.
They're not getting to 12, no. But he is having an incredible year, and if they were to somehow – they probably need to take Philadelphia down. Right? If they get in, 10-6-1, would it be?
That would be right.
Because they have a tie. Mm-hmm. As a wild card, I have a hard time seeing him be the MVP. But if they track down Philly, which is still possible, I mean, they need to win out and they need Philly to really, hit the bricks worse than they have already, or just continue down the road they're already heading. Maybe he can pull it out.
May would probably have to really stumble, though.
Yeah,
I think. It's not over. And Stafford is there too. Joe and Sam today brought this up. Like, do one of those two guys have to win it at this point? Maybe injuries could scuttle their chances, but if not for an injury, I think the answer is yes. But, I'll be happy if I win that bet. I also have some losing bets. You want to hear about those?
Please.
This is one of them. Probably
do tell.
This is one of them.
My 8-leg division parlays all disappeared from my open bet sheet.
Somebody's eliminated?
Atlanta. I had Atlanta, because I love Michael Penix Jr. He's going to be so good. So I had Atlanta in both of those. Yeah, there's other things that I'm going to miss, too. I got Dallas in one of them. That's still live, like we're saying. But, yeah, it was maybe after the weekend, I went into, those are the bets that keep you company. When, you go to look to see, how did last night go? Oh, those are all gone. Well, at least these two are still here. Those are gone now. I've got nothing. I'm on a night-to-night basis. I don't have any futures anymore. I got nothing. It's gone. I miss them already.
This is on FanDuel?
Yeah.
I have one that has not disappeared.
No, good for you.
But the cash out option must be lower than a penny because there's no option.
Right.
Imagine losing this bet on the Bills, having the Bills be the one.
I had the Bills in both of those too. So I mean, even if Atlanta didn't, ruin me, I had Kansas City in both of them too.
I'll run this down for you.
So
it's not looking good.
Right.
Buffalo, Baltimore,
okay.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Denver.
Right. Yep.
Philadelphia.
All right.
We'll skip that one. Carolina.
All right.
7-5.
Yeah.
Half game out.
They should have your attention. Sure. You're live there.
San Francisco, half game out. Minnesota.
Yeah, right. I had Minnesota in one of mine too. Yeah.
You know what they don't tell you?
We're so smart.
You know what they don't tell you out there, kids? These are hard to win.
Yeah.
They don't tell you that. It looks so easy.
Yeah.
If only I had put Chicago instead of Minnesota, I bet that would just be the Bills would be the longest shot.
Right.
Of the 7.
Right.
But, it's 8 predictions.
Yeah. You know what really does tell you that they're hard to win is that when you put it all together and you just put $10 in and the prize is like $7,000, that's an indication that you're probably not going to win.
Probably. This was over 4,000.
Probably not
for $10.
Probably not going to get there. I mean, good job building it up with those long odds, but see you later.
Ross is wrong. It's not your fantasy team people don't want to hear about. It's this stuff.
You're losing bets.
Oh, I had a 7-leg parlay and I only got one wrong. Go figure. You wouldn't win. 7 predictions.
That was me yesterday. What was I moaning about? Mahomes passing yards. I missed by like 20. Like a 5-leg thing from Thanksgiving Day. That's going to happen.
It is probably going to happen.
But like of all the legs that I had, him not going over 273, I think was the number, against Dallas. I think I probably felt the best about any of the legs of any of them.
Why didn't that happen?
They couldn't get the ball back at the end.
Okay.
They needed one more desperation possession, and I think I would have gotten there. I mean,
they weren't going to run it. They can't run it.
Right. But they couldn't get. I think Dallas kept the ball for like the last, 3-4 minutes.
That's a bummer. That's a fantasy point too. Like a game like that, you just want it to keep going.
Yeah.
And then you see that one play happens. And
I think that's what happened.
It's going to be a 2-minute warning, no timeouts.
Right. We had a house full of people. I wasn't exactly staring at it. It was on, but I wasn't.
No, that was what happened. Dallas, maybe it was Pickens. Dallas made a play, and KC was out of timeouts.
Yeah.
They ran it down to the 2-minute warning, and that was the end of the game.
Right.
My brother-in-law found it interesting that he was looking at his app when that was happening, and he was looking at something, and Dallas's win probability was like 94%. And I'm like, the game's over. It's 2-minute warning, no timeouts, first down. Like the game, it's 3 kneel downs. It's it. It's like, well, why isn't it 99%? I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't updated.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it seems like 94 is low.
For a situation like that.
First down
right.
at the 2-minute warning and the lead.
And no timeouts on the other side.
Right. You're going to have to fumble it. You're going to have to screw it up.
Right.
Let's go to Jay here. Hi.
Hey, guys. This reminds me back in the mid-'90s when Ontario and Canada brought in pro-line betting, and all my buddies and I would lay down $2 and get the most extreme odds hoping for a jackpot. It never happened, so it always gets you. So here's my thing with the Bills, and I've been saying this for a while, and here's why I'm in a bad spot. So ultimately, I feel like what we have right now is an impressive running game with the threat of a Josh Allen play or two, instead of an impressive passing game led by our centaur quarterback with a quality good running game. And I just don't feel like that combination or that philosophy is really going to get us to the promised land and win the Super Bowl. I look at the Pittsburgh game, and I mean, wow, what an incredible rushing total. But I didn't need that. I didn't need that kind of play. I know it worked, and that's great, and it keeps us alive.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm concerned that we don't have the horses that really are going to be needed when we need to make that big play. So, for example, we're going to play the Bengals this weekend. And Bulldog, you brought this up, and I was like screaming at my radio going, yes, it's 3rd and 6, 1:57 on the clock. It's a tied game. The Bengals are driving, and they need this 3rd down to keep the play going. And they're down by 3. We all know that Burrow is going to go to Jamar Chase, even if he's triple covered, and likely make this play. I'm being facetious, but the point is that's where I feel like our team is lacking. And I do put this back on Bean for not addressing it the way he should, and I'll end here, even when he had Stephon Diggs, right? I just don't know why we cannot get an alpha receiver to give our alpha quarterback exactly what he needs to make those crucial plays when we need it. I'm in here for the season. I'm always rooting for my Bills, but I'm just not there with the way they're positioned this year. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
I think it's very, it's plausible to me that they did better than they maybe even expected last year. Diggs gets traded. They don't replace him. It's $31 million in dead money. We're just going to take our medicine. Hyde and Poyer are leaving. Travis White is gone. It's a reset year, and so we're not going to make a big play for someone to replace Diggs. We're just going to get by, make some shirts and hats. Everybody eats, blah blah blah. But internally, maybe expectations were a little muted. I'm spitballing here, okay? Instead, their turnover margin is incredible, and they almost never give the ball away themselves, and they score their 30 points a game, and somehow I think find their way to, this works. We have proven, I refer to it as it was starting as the first great experiment of Josh Allen's career. Let's see if we can get by without paying a receiver top of market rate with this guy playing quarterback. And they did. Their passing game was not explosive. They didn't have that guy, but they scored their points and they won their games, and they got however close, right? However close you want to say they got, right? They made it to the AFC Championship game, ball with a chance to win at the 2-minute warning. And I think that emboldened is the word I think I want, being the personnel department. All right, we're going to go get Josh Palmer. That's like a third of a number one receiver.
Who were they supposed to get?
That's a great question.
It's always, not always, I'm not blaming you, but I love having, what do the callers say? I love having the alpha. All right. Was it supposed to be Metcalf? Would that have been good? Was it supposed to be George Pickens?
Right. I wouldn't have gone near Pickens. or Metcalf.
Probably, I don't want to just pick the only famous ones, or I'm not even doing that, but it was supposed to be Brandon Ayuk last year. He hasn't basically played in a year and a half or something. You can't know that, but would it have been somebody in the draft? That's a reach. They did do this in the draft. It just hasn't worked out like you'd want. Coleman. I don't know. Who's it supposed to be? Big free agent signing?
Another draft pick, I think, before the 7th round would have been in order.
Okay.
And I don't know if that guy, is splashing or smashing for them, but I really wonder if they like the way Bean talked the day after the draft was like they believed it. And I think we didn't. And I don't know. I'm not sure who they were supposed to get, but if the guy running that part of the team is telling you they don't need it, I think he missed.
Okay, fair enough.
So
they're always going to pretty much put a positive slant on what they have, who they have. But yeah, he did certainly came off that way that day. Wasn't going to be Diggs, right? They were not going to sign
Probably
Diggs.
not. Probably not.
Who was it they were supposed to just go take off the market? It would be good to have maybe some consensus on that. I'm looking at the receiving leaders this year. I'll look during the break. Maybe I can come up with a name that maybe it was Metcalf. That was a trade.
Yep.
And it's big money.
And Pickens was a trade, and that will eventually be big money. And both guys, to certain extents, could be considered headaches. I would have been stunned if the Bills had ever gotten in the George Pickens business.
Yeah, me too.
With his reputation,
I never even considered it.
And that's not to say that they're right, but like the way that they do business, I just don't think that's a guy they're going to go get.
I never considered it for them.
Diggs was 1/10 of the headache that Pickens had been in Pittsburgh, and they couldn't handle Diggs.
Well, I guess Pittsburgh does seem to have a way of
bringing that
exacerbating.
out.
I mean, are they always going to be this way when they leave Pittsburgh, or just what is it about Pittsburgh that it's every season they have a receiver who's a problem? Remember Deontay Johnson was this, and of course back to Brown and maybe even Juju a little bit. It's kind of a theme. 803-0550 for your calls. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. Mike Schopp for Paul Davis Restoration.
flight, you got to leave the airplane, go home, and what? Come to the rink, practice, get on the plane again. Like, I think I might just sleep in Philly.
I've done that.
Or fly to Winnipeg and spend an off day in Winnipeg on Thursday.
I've never done that.
No, me either. I've never been to Winnipeg.
I have never been to Winnipeg. I have been to Philadelphia many times and love it. So now you know that about us. What was last night like? I watched football.
Last night was really good and fun, and I can't get all the way to encouraging because I don't know. You know, this is what they do. But despite what Wednesday and Friday looked and felt like, they've won, I think, 6 of 8 here, which, you know, for the time being, for tonight, they are third from the bottom in the Atlantic. Florida and Toronto are behind them, but each only by a point, and Florida and Toronto play tonight.
Oh, here we go.
So if it's a 3-point game,
here we go.
They're going to be tied for last. If it's a regulation win, one of them is going to leapfrog Buffalo.
Oh, no.
But anyway, it was a really good night. I mean, Eric Comrie, wasn't great for Winnipeg in goal. But Norris was fantastic. And there was some violence. There was a cheap shot. A giant defenseman, Stanley, for Winnipeg, elbowed Zach Benson in the head, and everybody went crazy. And then later on, Peyton Krebs cleanly hit a guy, and the same Stanley jumped Krebs, and then there was a kind of almost for this current era, a melee. Everyone sort of dogpiled at center ice, and there was not any punches really, but there was, was
some action there.
There was the threat of violence.
When these two teams meet,
they play again on Friday. There could be bad blood. Probably not.
Maybe.
It probably won't.
It's pretty soon, at least.
Yeah, it is. It's less than a week.
Yes, it is. Andrew is next. Hello.
So
hey guys.
Work. Thank you.
How you guys doing?
Great. Appreciate you calling.
Calling in from Austin, Texas. Hey, everybody's been talking about, this is a problem with our passing game and a problem with our offense. But how come, we all start with getting experience and confidence in our roles and our jobs. And what is going on with practice in the games where Joe Brady really isn't building the confidence in Josh with our receiver corps? We're pointing the finger at we have a bad passing game, but hey, I think it's up to our offensive coordinator to build this confidence in practice, and we're not seeing it in the games. And shouldn't we be pointing the finger at the offensive coordinator, less at Josh, because I think Josh can make it happen. But he didn't have the confidence in his receivers, and who's to blame for that? I don't think it's Josh Allen. I think it's the offensive coordinator and the plays that he's calling.
Well, I mean, I think you're in the vast majority. You might seem surprised to hear anybody tell you that by how you're talking. But, of course, it's confidence is one element of it, and there are many others, timing and rhythm and everything else. I guess you're not saying this. Game days is not the time. Game day is not the time for, all right, we need Keon Coleman, we need you to feel good. I think in a game like that, there can be some of that, but it's not like the game plan. So, sure, during the week, people aren't blaming Allen for this at all, ever.
No, in fact, you often get pretty hard pushback if you do, and I definitely do not think he is blameless. But largely, it's the coordinator. Listen, man, everybody. Dayball gets fired. Let's go get Brian Dayball back. We've been in this room when people were lining up to tell you that Brian Dayball was a problem. The coordinator is always, whenever there's turbulence on offense. It is, if you've got a monster rock star quarterback, it's always the coordinator. And it doesn't mean it's always wrong. It's just, it is the default setting 100% of the time with like 98% of the people.
I think if I had to allocate what percentage of fans consider, like say everybody takes a survey, what is the problem with the Bills offense? Allen would be like 1%. Or less. Brady might be 25, and Bean would be the players, the roster, the build, like 74.
Right.
Something like that.
I think there's only so much your coordinator can do if you don't have guys that can win. quickly on the outside, and they don't. So why do they keep running these tunnel screens? This came up earlier. It's a pass they know they can complete. There's no winning. You're giving up ground. Shakir is taking 2 steps backwards, catching the ball, then hoping it falls right, and sometimes it does. But I don't think that Joe Brady is married to that play because he's loved that play since high school. They're high school sweethearts. I think it's functionally a play he knows they can run.
Shakir had 8 for 110 in Houston. Game before, 1 for -3. Game after, 1 for 5. So up and down there from him. He's usually pretty higher floor than these one-catch games of late. Thanks, Andrew. Nice hearing from you. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog back after sports. This is WGR. Mike Schopp here with some holiday shopping advice.
getting ready for a 6-game road trip. They were on the ice for practice earlier today. Notes from today's skate: Jordan Greenway, the only absence in today's practice, while goaltender Colton Ellis was practicing with his own net, an indication that he will start tomorrow night. The road trip begins against the Philadelphia Flyers. Puck drop tomorrow at 7:30 here on WGR. To football, it was an off day for the Bills as they'll get back on the practice field tomorrow as they get ready for the Cincinnati Bengals. The team will give an update to their injury report tomorrow as well. Buffalo made a transaction earlier today, signing defensive end Andre Jones Jr. to the practice squad. Around the NFL, the Denver Broncos added wide receiver Elijah Moore to their practice squad. Moore was released by the Bills last week. The Pittsburgh Steelers making a couple of moves today, reportedly releasing cornerback Darius Slay, as well as signing Asante Samuel Jr. to their active roster, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. Pittsburgh was also awarded wide receiver Adam Thielen off of waivers. This holiday season, we're kicking off Mission Give Where You Live to benefit Buffalo City Mission. It's powered by NYSEG. Starting now through December 19th, you can donate brand new sweatshirts, sweatpants, hats, gloves, scarves, and non-perishable food items to help keep our community warm and fed. Just stop by any Dash's Market location and drop your donation in the Mission Give Where You Live donation bin. If you're shopping online, you can still help out and give through the Buffalo City Mission's Amazon wish list. It's sponsored by the Barnes Firm and Dash's Market. You can get all the details at kiss985.com. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Derek Kramer for WGR Sports Radio 550.
I don't even think it's funny. We're in here trying to guess teams in college football conferences. It's just pathetic. Like, it's funny to us, but I wouldn't want to do that on the air. It comes out once in a while. Like, what's Houston?
Who's where? Is that even a thing still?
Stanford is the Big Ten or the ACC? It's the ACC, I think. But I'd be embarrassed. Like, I just am so far removed. So are you.
Yeah.
From following that. I just want the Big East to be Syracuse, Providence, Georgetown, St. John's, Villanova.
Right, okay. Right.
I want it to be 1986. So I know where everybody is. Yeah. Miami's independent, Notre Dame, just the Fiesta Bowl is for this independent, the Orange Bowl is for the Big Eight.
Yeah.
Winner. But it's so terrible.
We had
can't listen to that.
A lifetime of complaining about. I mean, we grew up with two polls, right? AP and UPI, and so not there wasn't always an unchallenged national there was sometimes two national champions because there were two polls. And so there's always this, this team got screwed, this team deserves this. No, let's put a playoff together and we'll put a bunch of teams in, and now it's the same noise. It's just,
louder.
It's just loud. Everything is louder. I mean, what isn't louder these days? And I don't know. This conversation began off the air. You asked me, are you invested at all in the reveal tonight? Like, no. I will watch the hell out of the games, and I'm excited about the conference championship games. Georgia, Alabama. We've got Ohio State and Indiana. My beloved Indiana. This year, out of nowhere. So, I'll watch all that, but I don't have time for, Miami should be in instead of Notre Dame. And, of course, Steve Sarkisian thinks it's going to be a crime if Texas doesn't get in. And all everybody shut up. I just can't invest in it.
Schools issuing statements, resumes, explanations for why they deserve it. Vanderbilt did this.
Yep.
I am wrong a lot, but this goes back to when I was working at ESPN, so 22 years ago. I've been right about this, I think, the whole time. Go ahead, and if you have to have a playoff, have a playoff. 2 teams, 4 teams, 12 teams,
8, 12,
never enough.
Right.
Go ahead, do that, but don't tell me you're really going to settle anything. At least you can say on the field that's not really all they want to say. You want the money. You're going to have games. You're going to make money. That's why you're doing it. But like you said, the arguments aren't really more profound or better than when they were, when it was the other way.
Usually instead of it being a 1-loss team, it's now a 3-loss team.
We're arguing
that's complaining because you've got a deeper pool.
We're arguing between teams that are not as good is what the difference is.
Right.
Who's the 12th best team versus the 13th best team or whatever it actually is. I know there are like automatic bids in that, but it's still the same thing.
Yep.
It's just the teams that we're arguing about are not as good. And I don't know. I liked how college football didn't need a playoff. And it's fun to argue. That's a fun thing about being a sports fan. You could do it in spades. And all right, well, tough. You lost, but it was against a better competition. They didn't lose. Take a vote.
Yeah.
Whatever. Let the computers. We tried different things. Coaches polls, computers, different things to do this. My son asked me, we were listening to a Premier League game in the car, and he said, does the Premier League have playoffs? And I lit up. I'm like, buddy, no, it's the best. The winner is the team that had the best season. It's a different point than college football because there are all these different, conferences and that. But you win the league if you had the most points. That's it. And, it's easy for soccer maybe because they've got these tournaments that are running alongside.
Champions League is like their playoffs.
FA Cup and the other, all these different tournaments.
Yeah, right.
So you have that element too. But the season is the season. Best team wins. Longing for the days of baseball where we didn't need all these wild card teams. I want like I've said for years, I want the champion to be the team that was the best. It feels like that's appropriate. And I like upsets too, but now you have so many more teams in every tournament. I don't know. I guess I'm old school, if not just old, when it comes to this. So are you. Chuck is with us next. Hi, Chuck.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Thank you for calling us.
Hey, I was just thinking about the playoffs that the Bills got in, and if there's no Mahomes, no Burrow, and Lamar's hurt, and our defense rounds into form, what do you think the odds of us making a wild card run are?
Well, I could look. That's pretty much what it is, right? I mean, at this point, Mahomes and Burrow are not in, and Jackson doesn't look like himself. So what would they be? 10%? 10 to 15% to do it?
Yeah, the best I feel like, at least at the beginning of seasons or even as seasons are going on, 15 is like a big number.
Right.
Right.
And they're not getting punished for being in a wild card position because of the respect that they get. So another team, if New England were 8-4 and the Bills were 11-2, the Patriots' odds would not be as good as the Bills' odds are.
That's right. And the fact that New England and Denver are where they are and Baltimore and Kansas City aren't in those spots also helps them. Because right now those teams are they got a lot of work to do to just get in. And they also get that kind of respect. So that helps too. Yeah, we opened, I think, the last hour of the show. You had taken a walk and came back in here. How different is this year from any other of these Bill seasons or even specifically last year? Offensively, everything about it, even their record. The thing that wasn't there last year that's there now is a team ahead of you in the division. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's another year where you're left sort of wanting at the receiver position, and we dwell on that. But I certainly do not give the Bills no chance of winning the Super Bowl from a wild card position. It has happened.
It has. A few times.
The Giants, I think, did it both times they beat New England from a wild card. So
80 Raiders.
That it's not unheard of. It's just not, to go from the 1 seed is what we're after. Go get it. Your schedule's pretty favorable. We don't think there's real heat in the division yet. We were wrong about that, or I was wrong about that. I think a lot of people were too, but whatever. I'll just say myself. And so even though the Bills are kind of the same as they've been, the same means you're going to get the same result to a lot of people. Like that, it's a very easy spot to sort of fall into. Oh no, here it comes. I don't know. Go play, man. I don't think you have to be as intimidated about going on the road to play a wild card game if the top of the conference is New England, Denver, and Jacksonville. It's just not. It's not the same thing as having to go to. I said yesterday, if 5-4 is where I end up and 4 is Baltimore, I would rather go to one of the teams above them than go to Baltimore. Assuming they get there, I'm going to assume that they've gotten it together enough, and Jackson is Jackson enough that they're going to be the threat that they always are. And I think that's a harder ask than even going to Denver would be. That's just me. So you end up in one of those spots. I don't know. It's not a Herculean feat or anything to me. It's go win. You got to win 3 road games, and then of course the other one.
See, that's also not that it's really that usable, but in line with the thing we talked about when you referenced early last hour, and I referenced Aaron Schatz. The Colts won in a year where they didn't have their best season, if not their best team. And here are the Bills, who for all their winning in the last 5 years, still are yet to win a playoff game on the road since Kelly. The last Bills playoff road win was Kelly versus Marino. Wild. I mean, they've done so well, but they have not won a road playoff game. So wouldn't it be right for them to win 3 this year? 7 teams have won the Super Bowl from the wild card. That used to be an easy little trivia question when it was 1. But then, all these more, same right. All these more playoff positions. And so the last to do it was the Brady Bucks. They won 3 road games. There are these teams that played at home and did it. And here's one. Tampa went to Washington. They might have had the better record. Heineke. Mm-hmm. They went to Washington and won. They went to New Orleans and won. They went to Green Bay and won. And then, maybe ironically, on their home field for the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. And then they blew out the Chiefs. So, yeah, the Giants, the Rodgers-Packers, the first Giants, the 07 Giants.
Not the other one.
Not the other one. The Cowher Steelers beat the Bengals, beat the Colts, beat the Broncos, and then beat Seattle. 2000 Ravens. Giving up how many points along the way, right?
Right. 6, probably.
Close. 23 in 4 games that year. Interested? Well, we've got Bills-Bengals at 1 on Sunday, so this will be tough to pull off. Going to the game in Cleveland on Sunday. That's a 1 o'clock game also.
Why would one want to do that exactly?
Well, that's a fair question. It's Tennessee at Cleveland. I'm looking at a tweet from someone by the name of Joe Osborne with a picture of maybe the StubHub, the stadium grid with the prices, and $3 tickets. And I love how these ticket sites give you a word, like a color or a word to describe how good a deal it is. Amazing. It's described as amazing to get a Browns ticket for Sunday's game for $3. Would you consider that an amazing deal?
I mean, it's really cheap. If I were in Cleveland,
$3.
I might take you up on it. What am I doing? I'm going. What am I doing? I'm going for a chance to see if Myles Garrett can sack Cam Ward 4 times.
I mean, do you want the Browns to win? If you're a Browns fan, this is for the first pick. This game. Potentially. Someone quote tweeted this graphic and wrote, since 2011, there have been 19 games that closed with a total under 35. Right now, this game is at 33. December in Cleveland, baby.
Yep.
19 games since 2011 where the total was under 35. 8 were in Cleveland. 8 of the 19, almost half of these games in 15 years, with a total under 35, were played in Cleveland. The under's 5-3 in this game, and the Browns are 6-2 against the spread. Browns are giving 4. Tennessee, man, get it together. You're 4-point underdogs to Cleveland. It's that bad? I'd probably take Cleveland.
Ward is getting set. By the way, I mentioned Garrett is 4 away from the record, the sack record, and Cam Ward is. I believe I read this. Well, I think I read this earlier today. He is getting sacked an average of 4 times a game. Now, not that Garrett's going to be the only guy that gets sacks, but whatever. Like they're gettable. Like it's conceivable to me he could tie the record or set the record against the Titans on Sunday, which is a monster 5-sack game. Like, oh my gosh, look at this.
If he doesn't, the Bills are waiting 2 weeks down the road.
Right.
They have Chicago in between. A lot of good 1 o'clock games. The Eagles-Chargers game on Monday night, did I say this earlier, is the only game this week where it's AFC versus NFC. And what that ends up looking like is, think of just the important matchups. Steelers-Ravens, of course, is
Colts
one.
and Jaguars.
Colts and Jaguars.
Bears-Packers.
Yeah, you got it. Houston, Kansas City.
Right.
Not even just all within divisions, but
right.
The Jets and the Dolphins.
Huge. Are they going to finish strongly enough that they're going to keep going with Mike McDaniel? I think I want to root for that.
They're kind of having the same season as last year too.
Yeah.
I say too because we talked about the Bills in this way today. But Miami was 1-7.
Mm-hmm.
They were 1-6.
Oh, sorry.
They were 1-6. Beat Atlanta, lost bad to Baltimore. Then they fired their GM and have won 3, including that Bills win. So they've won 4 out of 5 from 1-6. What was last year? It was very similar. Last year they were 2-6, and they finished 8-9.
Yep. Now, they do not have Drake May sitting in the wings, but let me offer to you last year's New England Patriots as a cautionary tale as to why you should be rooting for them to finish strongly enough that they keep going with Mike McDaniel. Yes, of course, there is some chance that they'll figure it out and they'll be back to what they looked like they were going to be when he first got paired up with Tua. Of course, that could happen. But there's been way more bad than good, and I would rather they stay there like New England did not do last year with Gerard Mayo. They went one and done, and they went and got Mike Vrabel, and now I'm eating New England's dust. I don't need Miami to get smart. Please buy that this is good and keep going. Because even if it's good, I think we've seen the ceiling already. And the ceiling is not anywhere near what New England is right now. And they were, nipping at the Bills' heels. 3 games up with 5 to go. 2 years ago they were, and they folded. And I think that I would much prefer that he continue to coach that team. I don't need them to find their way to, like, the Indiana guy or something. Like, no thanks.
I think your bigger issue there is the quarterback than the coach. Because I would say totally the same thing about Tua and just feeling like the ceiling is just not high enough for him. But I do like McDaniel. I think he's good.
I'm thinking if they stay with McDaniel, they'll stay with Tua.
Okay.
Is what I think I feel like that's a package deal. I could be wrong because I like him too. I don't like him as a head coach. I don't think he's ever going to really get a team there. But
he's had good teams. Just not great.
Yeah.
And I think that's more of a quarterback problem than a coach problem. It's interesting that he survived that when the GM didn't.
Yeah.
Like the GM, they did that before the deadline, right? Because we had the Jalen Waddle report and everything.
It was before the deadline.
What was the thinking then? That you'd have somebody else not attached to decisions that had been made before and they'd make moves?
I said at the time, you don't want a guy that's emotional about any of these guys that signed him to the contracts or anything. Just come in there and objectively, we're blowing it up. I'm clear. Fire sale. I'm getting as many assets as I can because we're starting completely over from scratch. They did not do that. They traded one guy, I think, right? The edge guy that went to
Jalen Phillips.
Yeah, where did he go? Because the guy that went to Philly was the Jet guy, I think. Jermaine Johnson and Jalen Phillips.
No, I think it is Philadelphia.
Yeah?
I think.
Okay. Either way, they traded an edge guy. It was Phillips. And that was really it. They did not do anything else.
Wouldn't trade Waddle. Wouldn't trade him here, I guess, at least. Didn't trade him anywhere. We talked to Ross Tucker earlier about, among other things, Mike Tomlin and how that might play out in Pittsburgh. We'll have that for you next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.